Hey, you're listening to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and NPR. As always, I'm Grady, but unfortunately today I'm a little too ill to record the episode, so I'm actually going to be handing you off for the next 30 minutes to my co-host Josh.
Thank you for the introduction. I hope you get to feeling well soon, Grady, and I'll do my best not to burn the entire house down while you're gone. All right, so this week we need to. It's a premium live event this weekend, so we need to preview NXT No Mercy. So there are 6 matches on the card. We're going to start with the only match that's not for some sort of championship. And I put quotation marks around one of the things because I don't consider it a championship, but it's treated as such. So, all right. So we'll start with the singles match between Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, where they just had a segment on NXT that resulted in them brawling. This should be fun. That's what I'm going to say. This should be fun. I don't think it's the end of the feud either. I think it results in a no disqualification or no decision. I think they both get counted out, or they get themselves disqualified or something. This is not going to be something that's just going to end with this match. So I'm going to go with no contest, and that we'll build towards the next live event or next special that'll have a stipulation, because for some odd reason this match doesn't have one. And that's where probably Braun Breaker will win. But it is also possible Baron could win, and it could be the beginning of his face turn, the one we've been wanting forever. But anyway, that was my prediction for that match. Braun Breaker versus Baron Corbin ends in a no decision. Next up, we have the Tag Team Championship for NXT. The Family, featuring Tony D'Angelo and Channing Stacks Lorenzo. OTM, featuring Lucien Price and Bronco Nima with scripts. Versus the Creed brothers, Brutus Creed and Julius Creed. Versus Los Lotharios, Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza. This is going to be the toughest challenge for the Family since winning these titles. And I'm not sure that they come out with them on top. When I'm looking at these, if anybody does walk out with them, I could easily see it being the Creed brothers. I think that's part of why they came back. Unfortunately, that would mean that it does sacrifice the redemption arc of the Family. So ultimately, I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to put the titles on the Creed brothers and build some other team up to chase them down. So that is my pick for that particular match. I don't really know much about this match. It just seems like it's thrown together. But, so, the next match we're going to go with is the Women's Championship match. 2 weeks ago, Becky Lynch faced Tiffany Stratton for the title, beat her, became the champion, completing the Grand Slam that she never completed when she was in NXT in the first place. And again, this all started because of a flubbed line in a promo. Now, I like Tiffany Stratton. I think she's got a lot of talent, and I think she is going to go places in this business. Unfortunately, she is not Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is not on Becky Lynch's level. Becky Lynch is a Hall of Famer. There's no denying that. In all honesty, I believe the person that takes the title off of her, whether it be next week on NXT, 2 months from NXT, the WrestleMania NXT event, is going to be Lyra Valkyria. I think they really want to push Lyra, and having her go over someone the level of the man would definitely do that. So at the end of the day, I can't see any realm of Tiffany Stratton beating Becky Lynch unless they really want to push Tiffany Stratton to the moon. But then why have her be beaten by Becky Lynch in the first place? I know you wanted that an acknowledgement. Becky Lynch being a Grand Slam champion. But if you're going to do that and then put the title back on Tiffany Stratton right after beating her, that doesn't make any sense. And that just would be, I think it would be more detrimental to what they would be wanting to do than actually benefiting Stratton. Stratton looked like $1 million in that match 2 weeks ago. She'll look like $1,000,001 this weekend against Becky. And she will be a player that they can depend on coming the next 5 years out of this feud alone, I feel. So I'm excited to see where they go with this, because I think Becky's going to be doing the Finn Balor thing. Going to be down there for a couple months. Going to be elevating people right, left, center, but holding on to the title until somebody is built to the point they are ready for her to drop the title. Again, I believe that's Lyra Valkyria, but they've surprised us multiple times the last year with this particular title and who would win the title. So anything is possible. I'll give Tiffany Stratton a 2% chance of winning this title back, just because I could see it being something WWE does, despite how much I will not like it. Moving on. This match was made on Raw this past week. It is going to be the North American Championship. Dominic Mysterio, the champion, facing off against Trick Williams. And there is a wrinkle into this match. The special guest referee is going to be Dragon Lee, who just lost, cleanly might I add, no Judgment Day help, to Dominic Mysterio for the title on Raw. This is a very interesting match. First off, I love that they are building Dominic. They are making him more dangerous. They're giving him wins without help. That is huge. They are treating him like the massive heel that he is. Whoever beats him for this title is going to be massively over as a face. Simply because they beat the living tar out of Dominic Mysterio and shut him up. Is that Trick Williams? That's a good question. Trick Williams has been doing pretty well for himself since splitting off with Carmella Hayes. I think there is a 50% chance that Dominic retains, a 25% chance Trick Williams just straight up wins the match, no hell, and then there's a 25% chance, I'll go 20% chance that Dragon Lee helps Trick Williams win the title, and a 5% chance that Dragon Lee screws over Trick Williams because he wants the title. I don't know. I really don't know with this match. It was supposed to have been Mustafa Ali versus Dominic. But that's not possible anymore. Unfortunately, during this past week, we had a bunch of releases because of the merger with endeavor. And Mustafa Ali was one of the releases. So they had to scramble for this. I wonder if this maybe pushed forward like a month worth of storylines or something. Maybe. I'm going to go out on the limb and I'll pick Trick Williams to win the title and be the new NXT North American champion. Because anything can really happen. Let's circle back to the Heritage Cup, because unfortunately I do have to talk about it no matter how much I don't want to. Alright, so we finally finished the Global Heritage Invitational on NXT this past week with Butch defeating Joe Coffey, and Butch will get a shot at the NXT Heritage Cup. As much as I want to say Butch wins, because I think Butch is a phenomenal wrestler, I think Noam Dar steals it. Although with Tyler Bate in Butch's corner, I could see Butch being able to neutralize the help of Noam Dar's help. But I think at the end of the day, I just think Noam Dar retains. In a perfect world for me, Butch would win and immediately retire the cup. And it never be used again. That would be a perfect world for me. But I don't think that's going to happen, and I think Noam Dar just retains. Much to my chagrin. Alright, so we have one last match to talk about, and then we'll be going to our break. Alright, so we have the NXT Championship match. He who doesn't miss, Carmella Hayes versus Ilya Dragunov. This is going to be a barn burner. I'm putting this out there right now, and I'm putting it on blast. I think this is going to be one of those matches when we're at the end of the year that we're considering for match of the entire year. I think it's going to be that good. These two are going to go to absolute war. And at the end of the day, I think Carmella Hayes finally misses. I think Ilya is ready. And I think he takes the title. And Carmella Hayes moves on to the main roster to bigger, better things. Perhaps even the new Hurt Business things. Who knows? But I do think this is where Carmella Hayes falls. And honestly, there's not many people better in NXT than Dragunov if he is going to lose the title to anyone. So, I'm all for it. Let's go. Alright, so we're about 14, 15 minutes into the show. So, we'll go with our theme music for the week, which I'm totally not picking on the spot. Let's go with Drew McIntyre's theme, because there were some definite signs that are going on with him that we'll talk about on the other side of the break. And we're back. Alright, so I guess we'll talk about the contract signing first. Because they had a good old-fashioned contract signing on SmackDown. With John Cena signing the contract to face off against Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, who's trying to get back into the bloodline. But unfortunately, there's no partner for him right now, because AJ Styles was injured by an attack backstage. So at this point, it's a handicap match. But I think we all know where this is going. It couldn't have been LA Knight for that spot, because LA Knight caught COVID and unfortunately was not available. So, if that is the route they go, that's perfectly fine. Use Cena's star to further rocket LA Knight. I think it's a perfect place to bring back Randy Orton. I really do. Have the Bloodline thinking, oh, we get Cena by himself. It's going to be perfect. We can beat him. And then as the match is the bell is about to start, suddenly Randy's music plays. And with Randy's music plays, he comes out. He teams with his old rival. And they beat the brothers. And that's how you bring Randy back. And eventually you could even have him face off against Roman Reigns for the titles. So, let's go. Let's do that. That's what I want. Alright, I promised to talk about Drew McIntyre and some signs that maybe something is not quite right with him. Because on Raw, he had a match with Kofi Kingston after a segment with Miz where he was not very affable with Miz. Kofi Kingston and him had a match. It was not a long match. It was fine for what it was. But Kofi got attacked by the Viking Raiders. And Drew McIntyre, this big badass who has been a good guy ever since winning the WWE Championship, ignored what was going on with Kofi Kingston and walked out. Those are the seeds that they're definitely planting for a heel turn with Drew McIntyre. And he will definitely be a much better heel now than he was when he was teamed up with Dolph Ziggler, who also has been released by WWE. So, I think this is the platform for where he takes off as a heel, possibly eventually challenging Seth Rollins for the title. I don't know where else to go with that. It's just, we'll have to see where it goes, but it's definitely like they're planting the seeds. The same way that they planted the seeds slowly for the breakup of the bloodline involving with Sammy slowly beginning to spin out. And then Jay spinning out. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to go over with it. Is that I think we are about to see a villain, Drew McIntyre. I don't know when they'll pull the trigger, but it's definitely not that far away. Spinning over to SmackDown, the Rey versus Santos Escobar storyline continued. And it's part of with the LWO beating the Street Profits. But there was a segment that they accepted, that Rey is accepted for next week, his Santos's challenge. And I think that might be maybe where the friction begins between them. Rey wins, and Santos starts to get slowly bitter, while they also intertwine this with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. And slowly Santos goes crazy. And after a while, that's when we'll see Santos attack Rey Mysterio. And the LWO fizzle out. The next topic that I guess I'll talk about is lined up with that one. There was a segment after the match with where the Street Profits lost, that Bobby Lashley laid into him, into the Profits to drop the match, to say, you're not doing what I'm paying you to do. Give me back everything I gave you because you're not proving that you're worth it right now. So I think next week and a couple of weeks afterwards, we'll see the Street Profits win and try to get Bobby Lashley's graces back. But we definitely also think we need some new music for Ford and Dawkins. If they're going to go heel, they definitely need some new music. But yeah, I love this. I love this pairing, and I like the idea of Bobby Lashley being a disappointed dad. You failed me. I'm not happy with what you're doing. You're going to have to ship up or shape out. And so yeah, that's definitely a case of we're getting further and further down the storyline rabbit hole. And we'll have to see where they go, what turns they go. But this was definitely a turn that I think makes it stronger. Makes it where they'll come out maybe next week on Raw and maybe decimate a team. And I mean decimate them away that the Profits have never done. Now, I didn't put this in my notes, but I've got about 3 minutes or so. Let's talk about the Women's Championship match we had on SmackDown. We had an NXT Women's Championship match on Raw. So, they said, we'll one-up you. Here's a big-time match that we should probably have saved for the pay-per-view. Asuka versus Io Sky on SmackDown for the title. It was a phenomenal match. It was exactly what you would expect it to be, but it also ended a little unsatisfactory because it kept the damage control being mingled with Charlotte and stuff. But it was fun. It was a great match. The right decision was made because they kept the title on Io. But I do think this is a match that should have happened at a pay-per-view. That it should not have been on free TV. But maybe we'll get another one because I will never say no to these two women going at it. They will always deliver. Let's me see if I can find something else to talk about. We had a WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championship match between, stop me if you heard this before, the main event of Raw was the Judgment Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It was a good match. All four brought it. It's what it was expected to. And JD, the unofficial member of Judgment Day, helped in order for the titles to remain in the Judgment Day's possessions. It was a great match. I'm not sure what else to say. I mean, it literally was an amazing match that these two brought it. They tore the house down, and it was exactly what we needed. But maybe not have these guys main event Raw for a few weeks. It is starting to get repetitive. Well, anyway, that's about time for the show. I'm going to throw you over to the recording that Grady made for the ending. This has been Josh signing out, and I hope I wasn't too bad for you this week. Bye!
Thanks for taking over this week, Josh. Hopefully I feel better next week. You can catch us on Facebook, facebook.com/WrestlingRNDup, or our Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRNDup, or our YouTube page, youtube.com/WrestlingRNDup. And hopefully I'll see you next week.